So, welcome to our penultimate session for today's 10th Investing in Tin seminar. I'm joined now by Thomas Buenger, CEO of First Tin, which is one of the newest tin exploration companies out there at the moment. Thomas has a PhD in metallurgy from Freiburg University with more than 25 years experience in base metals and semiconductors industries. Before joining First Tin, he was a base metals senior executive with a wide breadth of knowledge across multiple disciplines across the base metals industry, with a focus on non-ferrous metals, copper, PGMs, and recycling. Thomas was also a former board member and COO and CTO of Arubis AG, a world-leading copper and multi-metal producer. So Thomas, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, James, for the introduction, and hello to everybody. Looking forward to talk to you about First Tin.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, it's a relatively new company. Why don't you give us a really quick introduction to First Tin?
Yeah, First Tin is a company that is situated in London, owns two assets. One tin asset in Tellerhäuser in Germany, and another one in Australia. Very mature projects so far, and we aim to produce ESG conform tin in order to supply the fourth industrial revolution, so to supply all the necessary tin that you have been shown the gap for the next 10 years, so to take our stake and to fill the necessary gap with conflict-free, green, renewable tin.
I mean, that's a very respectable goal for tin supply. I know that First Tin is really focused on bringing on new supply in what you call tier one jurisdictions. So why is that a really important aspect of your projects?
I would like to widen a little bit the picture and to explain why we have chosen those assets that we own actually. So it has more to do with availability of local infrastructure or existing mine development, as well as with proximity to customers, which are sitting mostly in the developed countries, as well looking onto the more specifics of mining assets and further processing. So we aimed to acquire assets with a quite simple mineralogy and simple further processing, talking about potential low-cost operations as well as low capex. So that was more the frame that we aimed for, rather than being focused exclusively to OECD countries.
Right, okay, I see. And your sort of primary project at the moment, if you can call it that, I know you've got two major projects, is the Tellerhäuser project in Germany. So why don't you tell us more about that project?
Oh, it's my pleasure to talk more about the Tellerhäuser project. Indeed, it's the most advanced one project that we run, and it's as well very close to my heart, because I was born close to the Tellerhäuser area, so only 40 kilometers away. So it's something as well like a coming home for me. It's not only a simple project. Tellerhäuser project is a very mature one. So there is already about 180 kilometers of mine development that exists. Taking the 180 kilometers, what does it mean? So it's roughly the distance from Berlin-Brandenburg Airport to the asset itself. So it's not a very large distance. We believe that it will become a showcase really for sustainable mining, because there is the option to build a mine with zero waste due to the already existing developments. We are aiming to really to generate products out of all the material that we are going to dig. And we are sure as well that we can establish a very low carbon footprint due to the proximity and the access to renewable energy. There is a pump water station less than 3 kilometers away from the Tellerhäuser asset.
Yeah, so it sounds like a really green development, and as you mentioned, one that's really mature. In terms of the tin that's contained at Tellerhäuser, what sort of volumes are we talking about?
The Tellerhäuser asset contains a resource of about 100,000 tons of tin contained so far, and it's a quite simple ore body. So it's cassiterite, means as well the further processing in order to come to concentrate is not a very sophisticated one. It's a quite simple one, and as well the other materials. So applying ore sorting will allow us to further concentrate the digged ore and to make use of the rejected part of the material with high potential to use that as an industrial mineral where there is a large consumption as well, and then to concentrate further the tin concentrate for the Tellerhäuser asset. Luckily as well, like I told already, there is a lot of mining development that already exists, and there is as well a very mature knowledge about the necessary metallurgy that we need to apply in order to come from the digged ore to the final concentrate.
Yeah, so what's the next step for developing Tellerhäuser? If you have lots of infrastructure there already, you have a JORC resource in the ground, where are you looking to go with Tellerhäuser next year?
Well, it's I would like to turn a little bit the view on what is only next year rather than what are really the next steps and what is the way from today until having an operational mine, because that is at least the target of the next step. So we will start actually with the permitting procedure with the operational permitting procedure, while we own already a 50-year mining license for the asset. So it's turning from the license is there, but to have really the operational permit, that's the next step. We apply for that with the mining authority, which is very supportive. So they are really willing to bring back mining into the area, because the area there called Ore Mountains, translated into English, has about 850 years of mining history. So people are very proud of their history, and they are very happy to get mining back into the area. That's the reason as well why not only the authorities, but as well the local communities, the people around, are very supportive. The oldest mining university of the world, Bergakademie, is just around the corner. So there is as well good access to well-trained, experienced people in order to fulfill our requirements, in order to staff the project and to be really fast track getting the Tellerhäuser project into an operational mine.
Yeah, good. It sounds like there's a lot to do, but it should be relatively smooth to get all of that done. And I know that First Tin also has several other deposits in Germany. How do they fit in with Tellerhäuser? Are they going to dovetail with that development, or are they going to be their own separate projects?
First Tin owns a number of further exploration licenses that are adjacent to the ore body of the Tellerhäuser project. So it's really next door for the further exploration. Nevertheless, Gottesberg as well as our work are for the time being clear exploration projects. Nevertheless, we know already a lot about the ore body is there, because you can imagine that with 850 years of mining history, there are a lot of data sets already available. So predecessors of First Tin during the course of the 850 years have drilled a lot of cores out of the mountains. So we know that there is tin, we know that there are ore bodies. And the basic statement to the mineralogy is that it seems to be a very simple one. So it's a good add-on to the Tellerhäuser project. Nevertheless, we will focus first onto the further maturization project process of the Tellerhäuser mine. So that's first priority, while exploration goes at the same time, but both projects will kick in after the start of the Tellerhäuser mine.
I see, yeah. And I understand that First Tin also recently purchased the Taronga project in Australia. So how does that fit in with the company's ideas of green mining and low waste? And how does that fit with your development of Tellerhäuser as well? Are they going to be simultaneous, or will Taronga be after Tellerhäuser?
Yeah, I'm happy that we are joined by a very experienced team and a project in Australia. So we have there a very senior team with e.g. Tony Truloff, who most probably knows more about mining assets for tin in the world than we both will ever learn about that. So that's really a pleasure that he and the team with the Taronga project have joined. By the way, the Taronga project ticks the same boxes like the Tellerhäuser project. So it's simple mineralogy. It delivers the opportunity and access to zero carbon footprint, so to renewable energy close by, to erect and construct a mine that will operate nearly close to zero carbon. It will become an open pit, so we expect as well a low capex and a low opex case. So all the boxes that we have defined as our major strategy and must-haves are ticked. So happy to be there. I'm really proud of the team that has joined us, joined forces. So that will lead as well to the option to use synergies between the Australian team and the German one in order to advance both projects as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I know there's been quite a lot of development work already done at Taronga before First Tin purchased the project. What does the timeline look for developing Taronga from here on out?
Yes, luckily the project is very advanced, and I'm happy that we can benefit from all that. I would say roughly 50 years of investigations in the area around, as well as the metallurgy investigations that have been done in the past as well. Looking forward to that. What means fast track? I expect that within the next 4 to 5 years, we will see both assets, Taronga as well as Tellerhäuser, contributing to the tin need that you explained earlier today in the presentation. So at least to fuel the fourth industrial revolution, as well as the step, so the electrification step going from today's status into renewable energy generation, which as well calls for substantial tin consumption.
Yeah, it's good to hear that they're going to be progressed pretty quickly. And actually, we've just had a question in about expediting the feasibility study at Taronga. I know recently First Tin announced that they were doing a DFS at both Tellerhäuser and Taronga. Is that right?
Yes, this is correct. We will do a DFS for each of the assets, and we will start right now. There are existing pre-feasibility studies, so that's the reason why we call those assets quite mature. So it is quite secure what we have there as resources, and we know as well basically how to do all the processing to generate the concentrate, as well as the general view onto the future mine design. Now it's up to start the DFS, and we will do that, execute those DFS within the next 12 to 24 months in order to really to fulfill that earlier mentioned timeline for getting the mines up into production.
Yeah, and I guess the starting date of those mines will be sometime after the DFS is completed. So maybe, after the 12 to 24 month period.
Well, like I said, I expect 4 to 5 years until having really the mines permitted, financed, constructed, and ramped up. So that's really the schedule why a DFS will take a bit less time instead of that, and delivers not only the profitability facts and figures as well as the metallurgy, but as well the basis for the financing later on.
It's actually good that you've mentioned the financing there. We've had a question in from the audience asking how you're looking to fund the development at the German projects.
We plan to go public during the course of next year, so that's the first step in the funding, and we will detailize then later on while doing the DFS how to go further forward once we know exactly the need for capex that will be a result of the both DFS. So that is too early to present a detailed plan about the parts and pieces of the financing. Nevertheless, it's part of our DNA. So all the team members that are in have quite a lot of experiences. So me coming from Arubis, which is a public listed company as well. So financing plays there a role as well as my other board members that come from that own a very long experience in the mining industry. So there is really a lot of knowledge existing within First Tin in order to really put those parts and pieces together.
Yeah, and you mentioned you're bringing your financing experience from Arubis. We've had a question that asks, what other experience do you bring from Arubis that you can use in First Tin?
Arubis is one of the largest European non-ferrous metal players, and I was responsible to run all the operational assets, operational-wise as well as technology-wise. And by the way, Arubis today is the largest producer of tin in Europe with about 10,000 tons per year. So believe me, that tin is very close to my heart. The metallurgy is very close to my heart. Beside that, my team and I, we have a lot of experience in developing projects from earlier stage and bring them really successful on stream, avoiding too many booby traps that are sitting around usually in those projects. So that's at least the experience we are bringing in, really a lot of experience in how to run projects, how and when to aim for financing, and to take care that the aspirations and target setting is fulfilled. So we know a lot about, we have a lot of people that are experienced in mineralogy, a number of mining engineers that are experienced in mining. We have people that know a lot about projects and senior leadership and senior management.
Oh, great. Unfortunately, Thomas, that's all we have time for today. But I mean, I've definitely learned a lot about First Tin. It's a new company, but with a lot of experience in terms of both the people and the projects that you're working on. So thanks very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you very much as well to join you as to present to all and everybody around in the call.
Yeah, and you know, if you have, if you want to find out any more information about First Tin, of course, we still have the booths open today, which you can go and look at. There's lots more information about First Tin there, as well as on their website as well, firsttin.com. Thanks very much, Thomas.
Thank you, James. Bye.